Today I am going to explain about some of the basic concepts in Module 3, the evaluation of programming languages, the science of building a compiler, applications of compiler technology, programming language basics, and finite automata. We'll see one by one. First one is evaluation of programming languages. We all know the programming language. In olden days we have used machine language. So first we'll classify the language based on the generation. The first generation language we have used machine language. In the machine language, zeros and ones are used. It is difficult to understand and difficult to debug. Then second generation language is developed, that is called as assembly level language. In assembly level language, mnemonic codes can be used. Here, in order to convert assembly level language program into machine language, assembler, the translator is used. The third generation language, like what now we are using, high level languages are developed like Fortran, COBOL, C, etc. So here we need a compiler to convert high level language into machine language. And then fourth generation language are called languages are designed for some specific applications like Nomad for report generation and SQL for database queries. And then next is classification based on the other criteria. First we have seen the classification based on the generation, first generation, second, third, and so on. Next we will see the classification based on the criteria. Based on the criteria, it is divided into based on other criteria. We have different classification. First one is imperative languages and declarative languages. Imperative languages, we know that program specifies how a computation is to be done. Example C, C++, Java, etc. But next another type of language is declarative languages. There the program specifies what computations to be done. Example Prolog, ML, etc. Then next one type of language is von Neumann language. Von Neumann language is defined based on the von Neumann computation model. That example Fortran and C. Next is object-oriented languages. It supports all object-oriented programming concepts, that is C++, C#, Java, and so on. Then scripting languages. Nowadays we are using more scripting languages only. These languages are interpreted languages. What is the main advantage of scripting languages? Which is shorter than the programs what we are writing using high-level languages like Java, C#, etc. Okay, example for scripting languages: JavaScript, Perl, PHP, and so on. Next is the science of building a compiler. First we should know the modeling in compiler design and implementation. So how that compiler design is modeled and implemented means compiler study is focused on mainly how to find right mathematical model and right algorithm. That is the main aim of compiler design. Some of the most fundamental models are finite state machines, regular expressions, and context-free grammars are taken into account for designing a compiler. Compiler optimization must meet the following design objectives. What are the design objectives it has to meet means the optimization must be correct and it must prove the performance of many programs. And suppose if one program it is giving correct output and another program it is not giving correct output means it is not a correct one. So it must improve the performance of many programs, and as well as the computation time must be kept reasonable. Okay, then after compiler it took so much of time means it's not all valid. So the computation time must be kept reasonable. The engineering effort required must be manageable. That should be manageable. Suppose it is more means we can't apply that. Okay, the next is applications of compiler technology. So now everyone knows what is the main application of compiler technology. The first application itself, converting the high level language into machine language. So the first application is implementation of high level programming languages. In order to implement high level programming languages, we need compiler translator. Optimization for computer architectures. So designing a computer architecture with parallel processing and another pipelining concepts, etc. This is used. Design of new computer architectures like risk reduced instruction set computer, say complex instruction set computers. And the next is program translator. It is used as a program translators like binary translation, hardware synthesis, database query interpreters, compiled simulation, and so on. Then software productivity tools, that is type checking. It is used to check the type checking, bound checking, and memory management tools. Next, we'll see the programming language basics. What are the language basics in the programming language? You should know in order to understand the compiler technology. So these are the what are the things we have seen still now is the basic concepts already people have studied in that thing. Simply I'm giving overview. Please go. Suppose we'll get a question, you can in a question to answer that. The first you should know static and dynamic distinction. That you know, static variable means that is fixed one. Dynamic means going to change during the runtime. So that one you should know. And explicit access control, you know, you are having different types of access control: private, public, and protected. I think all you people have used this public, private, protected in C++ and Java. There private means, you know, that will be used only by the member functions. Within that member functions, private variables. And public means that variable that will be accessible within the program itself. And protected means that will be used only by the classes derived from that corresponding member function. And the corresponding class, derived classes only, they can use the protected variables. And then next you should know parameter passing schemes. You have studied this parameter passing schemes in the first year itself, C language itself. That is pass by value, how the value will be passed by address, and pass by reference. In all the three methods you should know how what is the changes in the formal parameters and actual parameters. Okay, so that you should understand with examples. Next is the last topic we are going to see in this under this module 3 is finite automata. I think finite automata one complete subject only you have studied in the last semester. But here what we need, why we need for finite automata means, all you know, the lexical analyzer is on the first phase of the compiler. So the regular expressions are used to represent the tokens. Okay, the output of lexical analyzer is token. Now to represent the tokens, we need a regular expressions. So the regular expressions we can specify with using the transition diagram. So now to draw the transition diagram, you should know the that automata. Either we can deterministic automata and non-deterministic automata. So that's the reason you should the finite automata concept you should know here. Okay, so finite automata is one of the mathematical model that consists of number of states and edges. That you know that will be having a starting state, ending state. In between there will be many states, and between the states it is called as an edges. The line that it's called as a transitions. It is a transition diagram that recognizes a regular expression or grammar. So for that purpose only we are using that finite automata in this module. That means module 3. Okay, there are two types of finite automata, that is non-deterministic finite automata and deterministic finite automata. I think you clearly knows the difference between non-deterministic and deterministic finite automata. Next class we will see how to draw the transition diagram for the different types of tokens. So all we know, if we take our program, we'll be having the different type of tokens like keywords, identifiers, then operators, and then white space characters, and so on. So the next class we are going to see how to draw a transition diagram using that finite automata for the different type of tokens. Okay, thank you.